Think about that heavy, specific weight you feel the second you wake up. It's that immediate, sinking realization that you're behind. You scroll through your phone before your eyes are even fully open, and within 30 seconds, you've seen 3 people your age buying houses, 2 more getting promoted to roles you didn't even know existed, and someone else traveling the world while looking effortlessly found. You feel like you're drifting in a dense fog while everyone else has a GPS and a full tank of gas. But here is the truth that modern society is desperate to keep from you. That feeling of being lost isn't a sign that you're failing. It's a physiological response to a world designed to make you feel inadequate. We've been told that the quarter-life crisis is a personal flaw, a lack of ambition, or a mental health hurdle. In reality, it's a natural reaction to a distorted reality. You aren't broken, and you aren't late. According to ancient wisdom that has guided humanity for thousands of years, you are actually exactly where you are supposed to be. This feeling of being lost is actually the first step toward finding a path that was actually built for you, rather than the one society forced you to walk. We have to talk about the identity mirage. In today's world, your identity is often treated like a finished product you're supposed to ship by age 25. If you don't have the career, the relationship, and the aesthetic figured out by then, the world treats you like a defective unit. But this is a complete inversion of how human development actually works. We are the first generation in human history to compare our messy, unedited, behind-the-scenes footage with everyone else's curated, high-definition highlight reels on a 24/7 loop. It's not just social media. It's a psychological virus. This constant exposure creates a social pressure that acts like a toxin in your system, convincing you that your natural pace is too slow. We've replaced the natural rhythms of life with an algorithmic timeline that values speed over depth. You aren't falling behind a real standard. You're falling behind a digital illusion that doesn't account for the complexity of being a real human being. This pressure isn't coming from your lack of achievement. It's coming from a distorted reality that ignores how humans actually grow. Think of it like a tree. You don't scream at a sapling for not bearing fruit in its first year. You understand that it's busy growing roots. But as humans in the 21st century, we've been taught to cut off our roots just to produce fruit faster. We are obsessed with the penthouse years before we've even finished the foundation. This creates a deep spiritual friction. You feel lost because your soul is trying to move at a human pace, while your environment is demanding you move at the speed of fiber optic cables. This is why the career confusion you're feeling is so paralyzing. You're looking for a dream job to solve a spiritual void. We've been sold the fallacy that finding your passion is a lightning bolt that hits you once and then everything is easy. Ancient wisdom suggests the opposite. A career isn't something you find. It's a craft you develop through the friction of trial and error. You are trying to solve a developmental transition with a corporate solution, and it's never going to work because you can't buy or apply your way out of a metamorphosis. This brings us to the core of the problem, the career void. Most people in their 20s and 30s are living in a state of constant panic because they feel they've missed their window. We see 20-year-old tech founders and teenage influencers and think the clock has run out. But ancient perspectives view this time as the essential exploration phase. In the grand design of a human life, your 20s and 30s were never meant to be the period of peak stability. They were meant to be the years of high-quality wandering. When you feel lost in your career, it's often because you are correctly identifying that the current system doesn't align with your deeper purpose or your Dharma. The modern world tells you to pick a lane and stay in it, but your internal compass is telling you that you haven't even seen all the lanes yet. This confusion is actually your intuition working perfectly. It's a signal that you are ready for the next stage of your evolution, but you're still trying to use the tools from the stage you just left. You aren't failing at your career. You're simply outgrowing a narrow definition of success that was never big enough to hold your true potential. To understand why this lost feeling is actually a sign of progress, we have to look at the Dharma blueprint. In the modern West, we view life as a straight uphill line. You graduate, you get the job, you buy the house, and you climb until you retire. But ancient wisdom suggests that life is actually divided into 4 distinct seasons, and you are currently in the most misunderstood one. Think of this as a practical roadmap for your soul. Most people in their 20s and early 30s are transitioning from the student phase, a time of gathering information and discipline, into the householder phase, where you begin to build. The friction you feel? That's not a crisis. That is the heat generated by a metamorphosis. You are shedding an old skin of expectations to grow into a version of yourself that can actually handle the weight of your future. When you feel lost, you aren't drifting. You are recalibrating. You are moving from a life defined by what your parents, teachers, and Instagram feed told you to be, into a life defined by your own internal compass. This is the Dharma discovery phase, and it is supposed to feel turbulent because you are literally breaking a mold that was too small for you. This leads us to the vital distinction between productive wandering and paralyzing panic. In the US, we are obsessed with optimization. We want the fastest route, the highest ROI on our time, and the hacks to get ahead. But you cannot hack your way through a decade of exploration. When you feel the panic of not having a 10-year plan, you are effectively trying to build the penthouse of a building before you've even surveyed the land. Ancient traditions teach us that your 20s and 30s are the foundation-laying years, not the trophy years. If you spend this time trying different roles, failing at a side hustle, moving to a new city, or even changing your entire career path, you aren't wasting time. You are gathering the raw materials for the rest of your life. Every wrong turn is actually a data point that narrows down your true north. The panic only sets in when you believe that the clock is running out. But once you reclaim your timeline and realize that you are in the exploration season, the cortisol levels drop. You realize that wandering is a high-level skill, not a character flaw. The real tragedy of the modern dream job culture is that it forces us to solve spiritual and developmental problems with corporate solutions. We think a higher salary or a better title will cure the lost feeling, but those are just band-aids on a deeper need for alignment. The ancient concept of Dharma isn't about what you do for a paycheck. It's about how your unique nature meets the needs of the world. By reframing your struggle as a Dharma discovery, you stop looking at your LinkedIn profile as a scorecard of your worth. You start looking at it as a laboratory. You're experimenting with how you fit into the grand machinery of life. This shift in perspective is psychologically liberating because it takes the pressure off being someone and puts the focus on becoming someone. You aren't a finished product that is failing to sell. You are a masterpiece in progress that is still being sketched out if you can accept that this decade is meant for trial, error, and intense recalibration. The identity crisis loses its power over you. You start to see the social pressure for what it is, a noise-making machine that has nothing to do with your personal journey. The comparison trap only works if you believe everyone is running the same race. But ancient wisdom reminds us that you are running a race of one. Your on track looks completely different from someone else's, and that is by design. The moment you stop trying to synchronize your watch with the rest of the world is the moment you actually start moving forward. You aren't behind. You are simply deep in the work of building a foundation that can support a much bigger life than the one you're currently settling for. To move from this state of paralysis into a life of purpose, you have to embrace what I call the slow path. In a culture that rewards the hustle and the overnight success, choosing to move slowly feels like a radical act of rebellion. But ancient wisdom suggests that direction is far more important than speed. Instead of trying to map out a rigid 5-year plan that will likely be obsolete by next year, focus on micro-alignments. These are the small daily actions that align with your natural temperament and your character rather than your bank account. In the U.S. professional world, we are taught to prioritize accolades, but the ancients prioritized quality of character. When you focus on being the kind of person who is disciplined, curious, and honest, the wear of your life starts to take care of itself. You stop chasing a dream job and start building a dream life from the inside out. This isn't about lowering your standards. It's about raising the bar for what actually matters. This brings us to the lost paradox. If you feel lost right now, it is actually the ultimate sign of health. It means you have finally stopped following the map that someone else drew for you. Most people spend their entire lives walking a path paved by their parents, their peers, or their social media feeds, and they never feel lost because they are following the crowd. To feel lost is to realize that the crowd is heading somewhere you don't want to go. It is the necessary prerequisite for being found. You are currently in the gap between who you were told to be and who you actually are. That gap is uncomfortable. It is lonely and it is terrifying, but it is also the only place where true growth happens. You aren't drifting in the ocean. You are clearing the brush to create a trail where there wasn't one before. So the next time you wake up with that heavy feeling of being behind, I want you to flip the script. Remind yourself that the quarter-life crisis isn't a dead end. It's a crossroads. You are exactly on track because you are finally asking the right questions. You are shedding the identity mirage and stepping into your Dharma. The world will try to rush you, to shame you, and to compare you. But the ancient blueprint reminds us that the finest structures take the longest to build. You aren't failing at being a young adult. You are succeeding at becoming a human being. Take breath. Look at how far you've actually come, and realize that being lost is just another word for being free to choose a new direction.